CFM Radio, it's Wednesday.
Oh yeah, time for another dose of video game, music, and news coming at you hot with Sewer Surfing from Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. What is up, Vector?
Man, it is pretty alright, Drix. Had a little bit of a hiccup on Tuesday with a little bit of a lag situation. You know what? I kept trying to get the stream up and the game going online at the same time, and every single time I would get a horrible lag spike. So it was just like, you know what? Never mind. We're jumping in tomorrow. That grind is on.
Yeah, bit of an uncontrollable internet bandwidth situation.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you just get a lag spike, right? Sometimes lag spikes just, you don't know what happens. People might be just connecting. Like my phone could have been, hanging on something while I was trying to connect to the internet, and I just didn't know. You know what I mean? Could have some kind of app going on in the background. Someone else's phone in the house. Something could have happened. So,
yeah,
whatever.
Infrastructure's been a little sketchy since those fires, too.
True. So, you know what? It's okay. I'll just reset my router. It'll be all right.
Let's try unplugging it and plugging it in again.
Exactly. Hey, tried and true, right?
Step one.
And hey, enough about what I haven't been playing. How has your time in Kingdom Come been? We're gonna go into the full review later, but how has that been for you? And have you been playing anything else?
Yeah, Kingdom Come has been quite the surprisingly amazing experience. Something I hope it's a new benchmark for role-playing games, and I'll probably say that again later for the full review. But also, buddy of mine had a birthday pinball tournament / show where my band played last weekend. So everybody kind of stuck around after a nice tournament at shout out to Aero Lodge Brewing in Covina. One of the places I like to compete. They got 8 pinball games there, but yeah, and I got to set up a sound system and host several bands in the Pin Punks Back Alley Beatdown Tournament and Rager last weekend.
Whoa, that sounds badass.
Yeah, thanks. Up the Pin Punks. And then followed that up on Monday with a pretty sweet RPG theater stream.
Yes.
And all kinds of new gimmicks and abilities,
unlocking
levels, switching back and forth between, 2-member parties and then 2 protagonists in the game too, and loving that's all coming together.
Oh my god. But Drix, I'm loving RPG theater. WrestleQuest is an awesome game, but holy shit, these cliffhangers that you leave us on, Drix. Oh my god. First it was the fortress. Now we're here and we gotta split the party again. Dude, it's gonna be insane.
I just stopped in the middle of a dungeon or an outdoor area. I just saved and said, "Oh, you know what? I think I did it.
I think we're good for the night."
The streams around even 2 hours. Yeah.
You're killing me over here, Drinks. You're killing me. I'm over here I'm getting into it, and you're like, "Hey, you know what? In the middle of this dungeon, we're good. I'm calling it." It's like, what the fuck? God damn it!
I'm not even gonna exit this outdoor building.
Hey, why not, right? Fuck it.
Because I can. Because I was allowed. Because the save let me.
Hey, but you know what? That's okay. And I'll say it like this. Not only does that allow us to see actually what you can do in the game literally just lets you save wherever you want and just quit on out. But, Drix, these are crazy, like I said, crazy cliffhangers. Every time you're coming on RPG Theater, Drix is over here. He's going on a crazy adventure, and then right when he's starting or in the middle of a new one,
yeah,
there it is.
I try to give you a taste of what the next stream's gonna look like, but right before I cut it off entirely, you got to leave them wanting more,
Yeah, you definitely do that. For me, I get that effect. I definitely want to see more WrestleQuest because
that way you don't mind waiting 2 weeks because the next one's gonna be March 3rd.
right at the top of the
8 p.m.
month.
Yep.
Should be good because I do love not just the awesome nods to wrestling history and honestly all the funny plays on some famous wrestlers like Jake the Snake and Macho Man Randy Savage. Just hilarious caricatures. But the pixel art and animations as the game goes on are actually pretty impressive. I'm pretty impressed by all the smooth pixel art and the dynamic animations that have like crazy shading to them. I'm like, whoa, what's these pixels look
what is that?
3D.
Did you just create depth with as little resolution as possible?
And that's here, extra hint. We got a pixel stud coming up later in our reviews. We are reviewing X Out or Cross Out Resurfaced. That is a old school Amiga shmup. I reviewed it. Drix reviewed Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. If you caught us last week, you got a little bit of a taste of what Drix thought. He's gonna tell you his full thoughts this week. But you know what, Drix? As much as I envy your pinball birthday tournament.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Quite the rager indeed.
I have to say, I have a little bit of it's not too big of a bragging right, but I did a little something exclusive myself.
Oh yeah? Bit of a beta, huh?
A bit of a test, if you will. But you know what, Drix? I'm gonna start things off like this because I have to show the most important part first. You know, here's the thing, and you're seeing it on the screen right now. It's the Elden Ring Night Rain network test. And this is me, and I'm trying to figure out my moves as this Birdman. He's the tank class. And you got your deliberate attack animations. You have all those kinds of really engrossing elements. Even though it's a little bit more, you have a little bit more leeway this time because it's multiplayer, right?
Yeah, I mean they're trying to test those networks out.
Absolutely. And what I found, keep in mind, these network tests were very they were very scripted. Like this first one, I woke up at like 4 a.m. to do it, and
What?
yeah, it was like from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. and like the next one was later on that day at like 7 to 10 p.m. So like, you know, this wasn't a network test that you could just log on and do whatever you wanted. And as you're seeing right here, I tried a couple times. You just couldn't connect for the first entire network test. You just sat here running around the matchmaking table.
Oh boy.
And
well, somebody was testing something.
Yeah, somebody was testing something. There it is right there. Error message. And it's like, you know, you get kicked all the way back to the goddamn, like, title screen. And it was such a pain in the ass, honestly. It really was. It was really, really lame because you kept getting kicked back to this title screen. And, man, no one had any idea. People on Twitter, because that was what they told you in the email. Check out the official Elden Ring Twitter for updates. Man, there were so many people on that Twitter dunking on them. This was a terrible first session. What is this? Yeah, it was not good. It was just not good. But I will say, the next time you got in was a lot better. Because as you can see on the screen right now, you're seeing me actually playing the game. And I didn't stream it. I thought about streaming it, but I didn't stream this one because A, I'm not really any good at Elden Ring, so I didn't want to embarrass myself. And B, I really wanted to try to like not die and like focus because that's kind of like the whole point of Elden Ring, just like really like lock in. And I'll say it like this. I went into this experience not really having a lot of expectations. I'm a Souls-like fan, but Elden Ring wasn't one of those games that like swept me off my feet or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I gotta say, Drix, I got into Night Rain.
Like into it.
Yeah, so you're seeing it right here on the screen, right from the top. You Fortnite drop in with your buddies into the Elden Ring, into a randomly generated Elden Ring world, and this Elden Ring world is a lot. You definitely have the Elden Ring aesthetic, but the way you traverse it and how you actually engage with enemies and go about grabbing loot and all that kind of stuff actually feels a lot more Diablo-esque, because you've got these roaming packs of enemies. You can find these lost graces everywhere. There are tons of outposts and buffs all over the map that you can interact with. If it looks like you can interact with it, you probably can. It'll probably give you a buff.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is cool, and there's a lot of different kinds of roaming enemies. Once you've done one or two of these scenarios, one of these matches in this Night Rain style world, you kind of get a feeling for all the packs and what kind of enemies you're going up against every time. The game will create a new world, or it seems like it creates new worlds based upon sticking a bunch of different set pieces together.
Okay. Roguelite?
Yeah. Roguelite.
Element?
Yeah, and it's it definitely you mix that together with a little bit of Apex Legends style loot grabbing, where the loot is it's a lot of familiar weapon types like pikes and long swords and short swords and bucklers and like the archetypical things, a couple of unique items and weapons here and there. Elden Ring FromSoft style, right?
Yeah, but you're extracting them this time, sort of?
Yeah, you're sort of extracting them and like equipping them on the fly, and you are leveling up and you are gaining stats, but you don't have as much control. The stats, as you do during your own Elden Ring playthrough, the stats and their increase are a lot more akin to the archetype and how the archetype wants you to play. But it ends up feeling very intuitive and very natural as you play through the game and really get engrossed in its system, because the system that it gets you in is familiar. At first I thought I was getting dropped into a battle royale situation with a bunch of different parties, true Apex Legends style, like a bunch of teams of 3 in a big Elden Ring world. We're about to meet in the end and fuck each other up. It's not exactly like that.
No, not quite.
Not quite. Keeps that FromSoft edge, and now I'll speed it up, because one of the cooler things is fighting bosses. Now, the bosses are pretty tough, and resurrecting your friends is funny, because to resurrect your friends, you attack them.
What?
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're just laying the beat down on everything in this game, from your friends to your foes, and you can really use and leverage positioning and how your team is attacking. As you can see right there, I got in with my special attack and then got one of my back attacks, because you could do the signature FromSoft Dark Souls Elden Ring. Hey, Joseph Ledesma, what's up? The Dark Souls Elden Ring style back attacks, but at the same time, you can really play off of your team and just wait for those openings, as opposed to always having to sneak up. Or you can use, I don't think I capture it in this footage precisely, but you can use moves that stop enemies and halt them, so that you can just run around them and get a free back attack.
Sweet. Yeah. Classic executions.
Exactly. And it feels really good, feels very fun. And like I said, you go into the game and the storm does come Fortnite style and starts encircling the world and cutting you off if you are in the storm in the Elden Ring, like during the time that it burns away, it's very visible. It's like a blue fire burning away all of the color in the world. And if you're in one of the black and white areas, you just start taking damage. But
Oh boy.
it leads you to the center of the world. And when you get to the center of the world, you're seeing a smaller boss fight right now. And the world itself is littered with these smaller boss fights, which are fun, engaging, and they do test all of the different unique archetypes. Like you're seeing with me right here, I'm with a recluse and a guardian. Guardian, of course, is like your tank. He's a birdman. The recluse is like your mage. She's a wizard. And I forget what my character archetype is, but he's like the archetype that's like the Elden Ring main character. So like he's that kind of like Swift Striker kind of idea, because he got a grappling hook.
Ooh, agility DPS with a grappling hook.
Yes. And so all this kind of stuff really promotes the team play and the teamwork, and you do naturally work off of one another's individual strengths pretty well. But when the storm closes in and you start moving into the final areas, as you're seeing right here on the screen, the storm just closing in on us, this is where the real Elden Ring, I guess, charm and main course comes into play, because those little bosses are not the real deal.
Really?
Yes, you find the real deal at the center of the storm. Right there, leveling up, right before we jump into it, grabbing some quick loot. Because you get all loot. Loot is also everything from equipment to like potions and like other consumables and other things like throwing daggers. You know,
Nice.
Yeah. So you could do you have a lot of options. It's pretty. There is a good amount of things that you can do, and just because your archetype starts one way doesn't mean you don't end up in another way. Like right here, I'm running around with two swords. I started with a buckler. Now I'm dual wielding.
Yes.
So we're
Fighter or mage, they've got it all, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So we're in here and we're fighting against the storm. We take down these mini bosses. These like werewolf guys. And then when you take down because all of the different finales of every day, because every new beginning is a day, new round is a day, you fight one of these giant bosses that just spawned right there. So there's a bunch of different kinds. This one is the the demi-human queen with the demi-human swordmaster. I've never fought them separated. I fought this boss a couple of times. I never fought him separated. They always come as a package team. And man, Drix, these bosses are crazy. Huge. This is the Elden Ring experience. Huge bosses with crazy attacks. Some of them are very telegraphed. Some of them are very quick and catch you off guard. In this fight, specifically, it got really crazy because I was essentially kiting the queen proper.
Oh man.
While my
doing the damage, huh?
Yeah, well, because the demi-human swordmaster actually is the guy who is really scary. So we have the recluse and the guardian here, like trying to lay the beat down on the swordmaster. Well, I'm pretty much soloing this demi-human queen, and man, I gotta tell you, this was an exhilarating fight. You gotta figure out all these things on the fly. You can get hit a couple times. It's not like Elden Ring where you get hit by the wrong thing, you stagger, and then you get hit by the follow-up attack. You get up, press the wrong button and instantly die. No, you could get hit by a couple of things, and you can learn the attacks, and boy, are you going to have to, because just because you could take 1 or 2 hits doesn't mean you could do that more than once. And there are definitely times where these bosses will catch you. You could get caught if the boss is like a two mob boss, like what I'm fighting. You could easily get caught getting too close to the other boss, and then you just get clipped by them, and they just destroy you. Like
you gotta love your surprises in Souls type games.
Absolutely. You really do get clipped like that most of the time too. So, like I said, this game was really very, very fun. I didn't think it would be as accessible as it was. A lot of people, when you think, oh man, multiplayer Dark Souls, multiplayer Elden Ring, this is probably going to be really hard. And the challenge is there, but it's not like insurmountable like you might think. You know, you're
not getting invaded.
Yeah, you're not getting invaded. Your stamina is pretty much unlimited. Your flasks are a thing, like they recharge at a lot of different places. There's a lot of different little shrines to recharge your flasks. You know what I mean? And you're rolling in there with 2 other buddies.
Yeah, so sounds a lot more accessible than when I started playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, much more and you know what? To its credit, random mobs, random mooks, random run-of-the-mill enemies, they're not going to come out swinging and just 2-tap you and just insta-kill you.
Yeah, okay, a bit more of the Diablo flavor there in the mob slaying.
Very much more Diablo. Feels very much like Elden Ring meets Diablo. And your mileage may vary with that kind of impression. It did for me at first. But then you get into it, and then you get into the groove of finding these, finding the loot, fighting these huge bosses, because you can fight end of the day style bosses in the middle of the day. There are dragons out in the world sometimes. So you can get really good loot going into the end of the day. But these end of the day bosses, they're definitely the real deal, and they definitely feel very rewarding when you beat them.
Yeah, that difficulty ramp will send you flying off vertically, huh?
Sort of. It really, honestly, it's, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, it's a gear check.
Yeah, sounds very FromSoft.
Yeah, it's 100% a gear check. How
good did you loot?
Yeah,
Best.
very much so. Did you loot? Did you level up? Like,
nice.
Did you do the bare minimum to make sure that you are like ready for this? Because I'll tell you like this, Drix. I went through the network test on one of the sessions. I played through pretty much the whole thing, the whole 4 hours. And there was one where I went in blind and I totally didn't get any consumables. I had like 1 flask swig left. Like going into the end of the day, but I looted and I leveled up, so I lived.
Yeah, sounds pretty cool. Super interesting. I actually would like to check this out.
Definitely an interesting game. Definitely if you're thinking about, like, if you like the idea of like a 3D Diablo 2-esque style game that's maybe a little bit less hardcore in the mob slaying, but a lot more hardcore in the boss running, definitely give this a shot. If you like Elden Ring, you probably want to give this a shot. It's definitely worth your time. I don't really know how it fits into like the lore, but
yeah, or if you're not good at Elden Ring, but you know people who are,
yeah,
play with them.
You
might be jumping for joy like your characters by the fire there.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, we beat the boss. You got to jump for joy. But like, yeah, let's emote. But no, definitely worth checking out. It's only $40.
Yeah, it's like Elden Helldivers over here.
Yep, Helldivers.
Helldivers.
And El Torito. See, this is what I'm talking about. Giant dragon comes out of here. Fucking ay caramba. That took me by surprise. But you know what else took me by surprise? This crazy, mysterious synth groove. Drix, what do we got? What are we listening to?
Man, you know Elvira, the Princess of Darkness?
Oh, yeah.
This is her arcade game, but on the Commodore 64.
Oh.
This is the main menu music.
Main menu music, Elvira, Commodore 64. I died. You saw the screen. CFM Radio. We'll be back. CFM Radio. Stay tuned. We got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 review. CFM Radio, we are back.
We are back and live as always, doing live video game reviews. That was, I got a couple songs from the first Kingdom Come Deliverance soundtrack. The first one was called Till Our Heads Turn White, and that last one was called Poverty and Famine. Some vocal tracks from the first Kingdom Come Deliverance on PS4 and Xbox One. But without further ado, I think I'm just going to get right into the review for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You may have caught my early impressions video from last week, but I think I covered pretty much a lot of the pros in that one, not so much of the cons. I wanted to save those for the actual review, but a lot of this game can be summed up as historically accurate medieval Skyrim, or as I like to say, peasant simulator, because it is some of the most in-depth role-playing that I've seen in modern gaming. I mean, you play as, some of the characters are historically accurate, like your buddy Hans, that you kind of roll into Bohemia with. And the decisions that you make, not just the dialogue choices, but the actions that you take in quests, they all weigh very heavily into like the outcome and the story. So you're going to enjoy making choices. You're going to enjoy the story writing the dialogue and voice acting, it's absolutely immersive, and really contributes heavily to this like great atmosphere. Like you really feel like you're, in some part of medieval Europe. Like I wish I had this game when I was going through like social studies classes in grade school and learning
Wow.
about knights and things like that and feudalism.
It gets
Like
that
this is
nitty
pretty
gritty.
much, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
The crafting is like borderline tedious, but like still a really good time. Like you have to, if I'm gonna make a horseshoe, I have to heat up the piece of metal, and then I have to take it out of the forge and onto the anvil, and then I have to like hold the right trigger and let go after aiming it and striking it in just the right place so that it sparks come off of it. And if once it gets too cold, I gotta heat it up again. Or if I'm making a potion, I have to like either boil wine or oil or some kind of base and then add herbs. Like there's, at least 3 to 5 different ways to cook any kind of meat that you might hunt. Any kind of coin that you're making, like you really need to earn it. Just generally, you could say that things are like kind of difficult or like tedious, but like I'd call it historically accurate, because this is probably a lot like what life was like at the time. So you're not really going to get away with crime easily, and boy, combat feels so like weighted, not just in like the speed of the moves, but like you really don't want to try to fight everything. Like you're not clearing a dungeon full of monsters. And even things like fast travel, you can get certain events will happen, and you won't even be able to avoid them. It's bad enough if there's one stranger that you encounter on the road, but if there's 2 or 3, it's like you might as well turn tail and run, because they outnumber you. And even if you have good armor and items and stuff, like you're not gonna fight 3 guys at once on the side of the road while you're trying to get from point A to point B. There's just bandits around every tree. So again, historically accurate. But that being said, everything is very rewarding. You can see one of the fights on the B-roll right now, and this was after I actually got some like armor and like a shield, and I was kind of getting into it. So you can perfectly parry certain attacks and then strike back with counters. There's a lot of in-depth fighting moves and like combos and stuff that actually take a good amount of time to learn and to master. And it's kind of like a Bethesda RPG, in that you have to actually use your skills in order to get better at them and stuff. But the story and kind of the learning curve and progression does a really great job of like, if you kind of just stay the path, like it'll show you the way, and like you will learn how the curve is and the way things are supposed to work. But yeah, on to some of the cons. Speaking of having to learn some stuff, the biggest one for me that stands out the most was I was so bad at some of the tutorials that like I actually broke like the NPCs or something. Like I kept trying it over and over again and not doing it right, and then eventually you kind of just like glitched out and like got stuck. So I may have heard that like the first Kingdom Come Deliverance was like a bit buggy. Like I'm not gonna say like steaming pile bad, because I didn't play it, so I don't know to what degree, but you could definitely see some of that transfer over to the sequel. Overall, like great experience, but yeah, I was so bad at a tutorial that I broke the poor NPC, man.
Wow.
And there was another instance where I was trying to learn how to blacksmith, and like it's like, oh, press this button, and like I'm doing it, and it just was unresponsive. So I don't know. There's even like a QR code that shows up sometimes in the game that say like, oh, hey, if you find any bugs, like here's a place where you can submit them, and maybe we'll fix them and stuff. Yeah, like they left that QR code in the game. Like, hey, if you find bugs, like you can report them here. Maybe we'll get around to it. So yeah,
that's hilarious.
Yeah. So if the tutorial missions are kind of like busted, then that's gonna make your learning of the game a bit more of a struggle. There's also some like visual bugs. So it doesn't matter whether you're in fidelity or performance mode. Like performance mode's a bit smoother with like the frame rate and stuff, but fidelity, it's like on PS5, you're not on a Pro or something, like you're gonna see some like graphics glitches, but it doesn't matter which mode you're on, like some stuff is gonna glitch out every once in a while, like the sky background might like turn purple, like it's Helldivers or something.
Okay. So nothing nothing super gonna get in your way though, right?
Yeah, other than the tutorial maybe breaking or
sure.
But visually, it's like might break the immersion a little bit and remind you that you're playing a video game. But it's nothing we haven't seen from like other Bethesda games and Skyrim and stuff like that.
Bethesda style games, yeah. Well, I mean,
Bethesda style glitches.
Yeah, you're right on the money with the first Kingdom Come Deliverance, where it was. I played that one, and it's definitely very buggy. Especially the DLC. Oh my god! But
wow.
But we're seeing the B-roll here, and I'm definitely understanding what you mean by in-depth role playing. There's a lot of options a lot of options for dialogue, a lot of different attitudes you could take, and that combat, I gotta say, that was like some crazy For Honor chivalry shit going on.
Yeah.
Like, whoa.
Exactly. Yeah, it was intense, and that clip, man. I was just started to feel good about fighting people and stuff. And that was an encounter. I was just fast traveling. Fast traveling is pretty interesting and chaotic because I was just trying to go from one town to another, and it's like, oh, some bandits are assaulting some guy on the road. Like, do you want to try to avoid them? And I tried, but nevertheless, I could not avoid the fight that came onto me. This dude tried to get me to have a drink, and I didn't want to drink with him because I was like, no, sir, sorry, I don't drink with strangers. And then he starts fighting me.
Oh my god!
First. Then he takes out his sword, and like I end up killing the guy. And I come to find out that it wasn't an alcoholic beverage he was trying to serve me. It was a sleeping potion. So if people come onto you or they stumble onto your unconscious body, you'll get robbed. Like people will take advantage of you and stuff. Like
that's
I'm
wild.
telling you, bandits around every tree, and it's actually pretty awesome. The only other kind of like minor con was they kind of do this in a really clever way where like some of the details and like the quests are like almost left out or like grazed over on purpose. So like this is the kind of game where like you're gonna want to screenshot like certain information or like record the conversation and then come back and revisit it at certain times. You almost want to take notes, but some people could call that a lack of like quest indication. And maybe map points, checkpoints, and things like that. It'll just be like, oh, go over here. And you're like, why? What am I doing again? Like, oh, yeah, somebody told me to look for something, and I forgot what that was. It's not the kind of game where you're going to want to put the controller down during a cutscene either, because you'll have a choice to make, like, right then and there. And if you don't have your hands ready, you might be taken by surprise as to, the outcome of whatever happens during the conversation.
Wow, yeah, that sounds, especially with the duplicitous nature, it sounds like, of most NPCs. Like, it definitely sounds like an immersive experience. Sounds like something you could easily get lost in. Sounds like, especially with this combat looks insane. The parries that you're doing, the strike backs. Like the places I noticed that you're also trying to like hit him in different areas. At one point you knock his shield away. Like that was like, it really is. You really do get into it. It puts me on the edge of my seat just watching it.
Yeah, I really like the way they do that kind of like target reticle, and you're moving the right stick to sort of determine where your weapon's going to land on the enemies, and there's so much to do. You may not feel like you're progressing in like the main story quest, or like even the first main story quest kind of gives you two options, and you're like, okay, like I could wander this way or I could wander that way, and it's like, yes, I have no choice but to enjoy whatever I run into in the open world. So yeah, like I said, I hope this becomes like a benchmark as to what like a good RPG should be, especially if it's trying to be like a period piece that's like based in a certain time or environment and stuff like that. it's really great stuff. But all in all, I'm loving every minute that I'm playing this game, even when it breaks. But final score for me, it's gonna be a 4 out of 5.
Okay. I can see that. And hey, you know what? For some people, I will say I had this problem. I definitely feel like those glitches, I don't get super annoyed by the Bethesda style glitches, but I definitely understand there are people who do. Things like that are deal breakers. Like what you were explaining with the tutorial breaking on you. I know anecdotally a couple people off the top of my head that I could tell you, total deal breaker.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're not used to it, you don't expect it. If that's it for you, you just throw your controller, and then yeah, that's fine. It's yeah, again, just not the most polished thing ever, but I didn't let that get in the way of me having a great time playing this one and just experience something that like I never would have sought out in other ways. Like when I probably saw some sort of image of like the first game, and was just like, oh, like a knight with a sword and armor, like that could be anything. Like this could be crazy fantasy, but I didn't realize how much of a History Channel episode like this was. So that part of it I'm really enjoying.
So 4 out of 5, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Definitely check it out if you're looking for something a little bit, a Skyrim experience without the dragons, sounds like. If you want a little bit more of a grounded medieval fantasy experience, albeit a little buggy.
Yeah, still beautiful though, man. The environments are great to get lost in. A lot of cool visual and lighting effects. Oh, and kind of a tough as nails Iron Man save system too. Like, you have to brew a potion called Saving Schnapps in order to save your game, or you have to sleep in a bed that you own. So first of all, you have to own a bed and then sleep in it, but you got to make it back there first. So don't forget to brew your Saving Schnapps, everyone.
Wow, pretty retro, pretty old school. Definitely has a lot of charm to it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, 4 out of 5, CFM Radio. You heard it here. That's what Drix says. I think it looks amazing too. Definitely not a game you want to miss.
Oh yeah. Carry your busted buddy through the night. Get him back to safety. Get some herbs in him. Maybe some ale.
And hey, listen, before we jump into our final break of the night and then our last game review, we're going to do some new game releases.
Yeah, just like we like to do every Wednesday here on CFM Radio. Keep you informed on what's coming out and what's on the horizon every week.
Absolutely. We do love, just because we have some of the biggest releases to talk about, doesn't mean we don't want to keep you up with the best new games that are coming out this week. And you know what? Avowed is out. It's already here. You could get it on Game Pass right now. So we're going to talk about a couple of other games that you may not, or that may slip your radar if you weren't looking for them. First up is a game called Cabernet.
Ooh, we're not talking about wine now, are we?
Absolutely not. From the Steam page, quote, Cabernet is a 2D narrative RPG set in a 19th century Eastern European-inspired world with a modern twist. Guide Liza, a young vampire in her new unlife among unsuspecting townsfolk. Will you retain your humanity or descend further into the horror you become?
Wow, Vampire Tales sounds pretty sweet, dark and spooky, and nice art style too.
Yes, definitely. I was gonna say I definitely am attracted to this. Looks like a almost late night adult animation style, right? Like an Adult Swim HBO show, right?
Like how in Samurai Jack they try to avoid using outlines.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like colors next to each other.
Absolutely. And Cabernet releases tomorrow, Thursday, February 20th for PS4 and 5, Xbox One and Xbox Series consoles, PC, and Nintendo Switch.
Oh boy. Speaking of role-playing, we got another pretty big one coming up next.
Oh yeah, we do. For all, Drix, I know you have played plenty of JRPGs recently, but we've got another big one coming at you. Last but certainly not least, we have Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Man, they are taking the wacky campiness to the next level in this one.
Oh yeah. From the Steam page, quote, embark on an over-the-top, modern-day pirate adventure with an ex-Yakuza, now pirate captain and his crew. Engage in exhilarating combat on land and sea in the hunt for lost memories and treasure.
Yeah, there's a demo out for this one, actually, you can check out.
Ooh. I definitely am going to check that demo out because Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii releases this Friday, February 21st for PC, PS4, and 5, Xbox One, alongside Xbox Series alongside the Xbox Series consoles, but no Nintendo Switch. Sorry.
No, we don't like to say Yakuza on the Nintendo consoles.
We do not. And hey, you know what, Drix? This track sounds like a heroic one to jump into the break on. What are we listening to?
This is from Super Robot Tyson Alpha.
I knew it.
Yeah, also known as Super Robot Wars in the States.
Super Robot Tyson, one of my personal favorites. We'll be right back. CFM Radio. We'll be back.
Svi ljudi cijelog svijeta znali da djeci treba mir, duša u igri puna snage u slobodi, nada u budući miran san. Let je let i pad je let, c'est la vie, mon ami, u sjaju je linija neba i nas. Tuga svijeta ne gori, neka ljubav se rodi, i pad je let, nadaj se, mon ami. I kad se pada, postoji nada, c'est la vie, mon ami. Sve će to jednom prekriti snijeg. Moja duša ne gori, neka vječnost se rodi. Let je let i pad je let, mon ami.
CFM Radio, we are back. Have you given us a like? Have you subscribed to us right here on YouTube yet? If you haven't, please do.
Yeah, man. Hit the good buttons. Give us the good feelings, and we'll give you some too.
Because I would definitely have more good times, more good feelings, because we got one more game review tonight, Drix.
Oh, yeah. Just in time. What a packed show. 3 reviews. That's a new record for us.
Yeah, hey, you know what? There's a lot of games that are coming out, Drix. You're playing one of the biggest ones. I got into the network test for Elden Ring, and you know what? This next game that we're gonna play, it's a little bit more low key, but like I was telling us at the beginning of the show, it's a oldie but a goodie. One of the shmups off of the Amiga. This is Cross Out Resurfaced.
Yeah, you gotta love these classic skill-based shoot 'em ups. Get ready to dodge in bullet hell.
Funny enough, Drix, this bullet hell is closer than you might think to actual hell. You're close because as opposed to space, this is one of the main things that this game sells it on. As opposed to space, Cross Out or X Out Resurfaced takes place in an undersea environment.
Oh yeah, where all the real aliens come from.
Right? That's what I was thinking too. And you know what? At first I kind of thought it was a gimmick, right? At first I'm like, you know what? Undersea is it just get like a shmup, right? And you know what? When you're looking
wet R-Type.
right, yeah, seriously. But you know what? It really does shine in the moment-to-moment gameplay when you're playing it. So it might not seem like much as you're watching the game, but honestly, this is one of the most fun experiences I've had with a shmup in a really, really long time. It's really, really a fun game. This game is tough. This game is, it tests not just how much you can dodge the bullets, but the environment also plays a huge part. Because, Drix, if you touch a wall, you just die. That's it.
Yeah. That can be a turnoff for skill-challenged players.
You're just done. You all the way back to stage 1. Sorry. And like you're seeing right here, you have a shop. There's 4 different submarines that you can go forth in. And you know, Drix, it is really crazy because there's, like, again, on the B-roll, if you're watching it, there's a whole extra menu that these guys, that the developers have given you with they call them right here options, but 100% Drix, these are cheat codes.
What?
Yeah, you go into the quote-unquote trainer menu, cheat code menu, and turn on your options, cheat codes. You don't even, I won't even, like, the game doesn't even, it might, like, play cute with it in the menus, but Drix, you play one game with one of these quote-unquote options on, it calls you out. It says cheater. It gives you the achievement or trophy. Take it, pick your flavor.
Yeah, you wussed out, didn't you? You turned on the cheat codes.
You turned on the cheat codes, bro. You turned on the goddamn cheat codes. And you know what, man? There are
I thought there were options.
I thought they were options. But you know what? I will say, some of them are whack, dude. Some of them are so powerful, they make the game, like, not fun. Like, and it's kind of innocuous. One of the best example I can give, there's this cheat code that you unlock after, I don't know, you die a couple of times and they start giving you cheat codes. But you get
code.
Yeah, they totally pity code you, and at least they don't mince words. They totally are like, yeah, you're dying, so here's some cheat codes. But some of these codes, Drix, are crazy, and some of them you wouldn't even think were that crazy. One of them, you just start off with a bunch of extra credits that you could spend in the shop, and at first you're like, whatever, bunch of extra credits. You start off with a decent amount. You can start off with, like, the second tier of ship in, like, the second loadout of it, and it's a pretty strong ship. So there's a lot you can do from the beginning if you know what you're doing. It might take you a couple times. It's not a difficult game to learn, but once you learn the good stuff, it sticks with you, right?
Yeah.
So
actually,
this
it's like a real submarine. You hit a wall, it implodes.
Exactly. But some of these cheats, man, this bunch of money at the start cheat, not cool. It makes it so that you can make the best ship possible and have some left over.
Oh, well, all right then.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be fun to some people.
So like, yeah, that's unfortunately one of the most fun parts about the game is exploring. You're seeing it on the B-roll right now. Exploring all these huge amounts of customization options. Drix, there's like 8 different kinds of satellites. These little drones that follow you and shoot and do different things. Some of them, spin around a certain area. Some of them mirror what you're doing. Some of them try to lock in on the nearest target and just start shooting at them when you shoot at them. There's a lot of these things that you can do, and there's a lot of fun to be had in exploring all the different types of builds that you can make when you're forced to adapt to all these different situations. You don't know, like, you never know, like, literally the final ship, the final submarine has a build that says this is the most powerful submarine in the game.
Just flat out tells you, huh?
Just flat out tells you. So you could pick that, and it just gives you, and for what it's worth, it is a good build, but it is very powerful. You just hold down the shoot button and you pretty much just mow through the game. Some of that's not to say not all of these cheats are like that. Some of the cheats, this might sound bad, but the cheat that allows you to hit a wall and not die.
It takes all the fun out of it, huh?
No, that one actually is good because it's not like you just don't take damage. You still take a shitload of damage. If you hit a wall with low life, I would say like less than half your life. If you hit a wall with less than half your life, even with the cheat code on, you're gonna die.
Yeah, I might end up using that one too.
Yeah, so like, hey, you know what? I will say, when you start just playing the game, it is intuitive. One of the best parts about the game, Drix, is it is intuitive enough to where you really just want to avoid all that shit. You just want to avoid all of it. You learn the game is good at teaching you. Just avoid all of it because it's unlike a lot of other shmups where you're dodging these crazy bullet hell scenarios, right? Where there's just crazy amounts of bullets on the screen with dodging enemies that like may or may not stay on the screen even most of the time, Yeah. Like in Crossout, it's a lot more about avoiding the environment. Obviously, you one tap when you die when you hit a wall, but a lot of the time you could take a couple hits. There's a shield that you can buy in the shop, like that can make you invulnerable for a set amount of time. There are things that you can do and measures you can take. That's one of the best parts about this game. I actually can't believe that the most modern things about the game are the soundtrack, the pixel like upscaling, right? Of course,
yeah.
Pixel upscaling, and the like upgrade descriptions in the shop. Those are the most modern things in this game. All the upgrades and everything else that was also pre-built ships. All the ships, upgrades for the ships, all that existed before in the Amiga version of the game.
Yeah, wow, for a shoot 'em up. A lot of shoot 'em ups came out around that time.
1990, the original one.
Dang. Yeah, that's all the menus and stuff and all the customization upgrades, that feels pretty ahead of its time. Definitely doesn't feel as 1990 as it could.
I was absolutely blown away by the only slight modernizations that are in Crossout Resurfaced. It is truly one of those games, if you're a retro gaming fan, if you're a fan of shmups, if you love this style of game, it's perfect. You should just go out and play it. I will say, it's a little on the pricier side. Normally when I want a game, I really just don't let the price get to me. But I will say, even though this has a 2-player mode, and even though when you beat the game, you can play it again inverted, which is really cool, it's a $30 price tag. And
yeah,
it's not like these other remasters that end up being $25, $20. Nah, there's a lot, and there's a lot to it. There's a lot to the $30. I'm not saying it's not worth $30 because there's a ton of nice quality of life changes. Plus the 2-player mode is kind of fun, and the reverse mirror mode. Again, one of those things that I didn't really think much of, because you beat this game. There's only 8 levels, but those 8 levels are tough. I think it took me like 8-9 hours to beat this game.
Oh man, yeah, that's a good day's playing right there.
Yeah, I had to really clock in, and then you do the mirror mode, and it's like, whoa, you think, oh man, it's just like whatever. Here it comes. No, dude, you literally scroll to the left.
Nobody's used to that. Nobody will see that coming.
It's really cool. Yeah, it might seem innocuous, but you start playing it. That's one of the things about this game. This game is so innocuous. I didn't think much about this game when I got the review code. Honestly, I was like, you know what? A shmup. I enjoy shmups. Whatever. Retro remake, whatever. No, dude. This game, you start playing it and you're like, huh. Wow, this is really, you just get grabbed by it. And if you are a retro game fan, this hits on all cylinders. I had no idea that I would have as much fun with this game as I had. So, Drix, I'm giving Crossout Resurfaced a 4 out of 5 as well. Because honestly, for $30, you're getting a lot of bang. You got 2-player mode, you got mirror mode, you have a game that, for its credit, is way ahead of its time. Again, only the main modernizations for the game are sprite upscaling, a new soundtrack, and descriptions to the upgrades and the ships that exist in the shops. Drix, I don't know how you could play this game without the descriptions. You're just throwing spaghetti at the wall at that point. It's pretty wild. Like
buying upgrades and seeing what works.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy with the amount of upgrades. 8 different drones. There's like 4 or 5 different kinds of bombs. You can there's like 3 different side arms, I guess. Yeah, side weapons that you can switch between on the fly while you're playing the game. Your ship can go into 4 different speeds. So you can be bobbing and weaving, or you can just slow it all down.
Wow. Yeah, it's pretty advanced for a shoot 'em up.
From 1990, I'll say so. So again,
yeah,
4 out of 5 from me. Cross out X. If you look at the trailer and you don't mind a game with just a little bit of a learning curve, you kind of got to stick with Cross out X or Cross out Resurface. X out Resurface. You kind of got to stick with it. You might get one tapped on the wall, but
will happen.
Yeah, it will happen. But you get that wall cheat code, you're in business. It's the only cheat code you're gonna need. Even if you hit the wall, you might not survive, even with the cheat code on. So
yeah, it's not the arcade classic put in more quarters cheat code.
Yeah.
Not quite Nintendo hard, but still a bit of Amiga hard.
Yes, exactly. So 4 out of 5. Cross out Resurface, X out Resurface, however you say this game. It's awesome. I loved it. A pleasant surprise. And if you are looking for a game with that you can just chill out with, maybe just pick it up, have fun for a little bit, and then put it down, you will always have something to do with this game. Even if you have someone else, that's the coolest part. You have a 2-player mode, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I'll play this with you anytime.
Cross out X, Cross out Resurface, X out Resurface, 4 out of 5. CFM Radio, that's what I give it. I think you should pick it up if you love retro games.
Oh yeah, we love our retro around here. Been playing a bunch of Amiga music the whole time, in case you haven't noticed.
Absolutely. Hey, you know what? This is the kind of music that you're gonna hear in Cross Out Resurfaced, but just up, like modernized with modern synths. It's really cool, very immersive.
Yeah, the Commodore, the Amiga, man, there's some grooves on those chips.
Absolutely. And you know what, Drix? Man, I gotta tell you, we grooved tonight, didn't we? What a night. We had a lot of reviews. If you tuned in for news headlines, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're too busy playing all these fun games over here.
We had too many games. We had a night full of reviews, impressions and reviews. What else do you guys want?
Yep, still got some new releases for you though, and there'll always be more news next week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We got more new games. We got more new stories. Everything. Thank you for tuning in, Joseph Ledesma. We love you. Always good to see you.
Thanks for stopping by.
And we'll be back next week. Might be a little bit lighter on the reviews and a little bit heavier on the news. So if that's what you're into, definitely stay tuned.
Yeah, this was the most review heavy pound for pound show we've had in our CFM radio phase.
Very true. Yeah, I don't think we've had another show that was just straight reviews. Hey, I'll say it like this: if you liked straight reviews, a whole show of reviews, let us know. Give us the comments. Give us a like. You know, we are always listening, and Drix is always wanting some requests.
Yeah, I always want to hear what your favorite video game music is. And we'll probably cut some of these up and leave some of the videos up on our YouTube channel that we can have something fresh for you to watch as far as our uploads go, and not just our lives.
Definitely. And if you haven't been subscribed, we have been slowly releasing our CFM awards for 2024, and those are popping up every week with a different category of our rewards. Definitely check those out if you haven't, if you didn't catch the live show, and if you're looking for some games from last year that you might want to check out.
Yeah, they're that much more likely to drop in price and go on sale.
But we're about to drop out here. We thank you for tuning in. We'll see you for some Grind Live tomorrow. That's over on Twitch, twitch.tv/CFM on Twitch. Give us a follow over there. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. We'll see you again next week.
Yep. See you later, gamers.
Good night.